And thank you, all of you, for staying. And it's late, and it's been a long day, and I'm really, it shows a lot of how important this whole issue of reentry is. And as Jeff said, I have worked in the field 32 years, a long time, and one of the most discouraging things has been the disconnect between what's going on at the state level, the federal level, cities and counties. We have people working in mental health, substance abuse, employment, and they weren't dialoguing with each other. And we have scarce resources, and we weren't utilizing those resources in the best way that we could. And so the intent of this panel 3 is to really talk about those bridges and how we can connect those groups together and really use those resources in the right way and make change. And I'm hoping that, we're seeing Maryland and we're seeing other states that are doing these great reentry partnerships. I hope that what we're doing in San Francisco is going to be on tape one day for another state and another city and county that's looking at it, and that's very exciting to see. Another disconnect that I want to just briefly mention is the disconnect with our neighborhoods. We can talk about putting great programs, residential programs, outpatient programs together, but no one wants to have that program next door, and the whole NIMBY issue is absolutely huge. We have to deal with it at a state level, but certainly in San Francisco at the local level, we have to engage our communities. And I think that's why one reason this summit is so exciting is that we can demonstrate to the communities the huge barriers that face parolees and people coming out of jail and prison, and that we can have success. If we put the programs together and give people the tools they need, we absolutely can have success in public safety. So we have to be on the same page, and this is just a fantastic start. And again, I'm going to thank Jeff Adachi because he is tireless as an advocate. He's tireless with what he's done in putting this together. And I also want to thank David Moroff, who put together this program and this summit. And let's give them a great hand, please. And the last thing before turning over to the panel, this takes political will. And what Mark Leno was saying this morning was a bit discouraging. Because of the way the politicians in Sacramento and certainly the United States are looking at this whole issue. And it's up to us to really work with them and to continue to educate, because when the political will is there, we're going to see change. And we're seeing that in San Francisco with all the key stakeholders that are here right now and working on this reentry initiative in San Francisco. So it's really great to see that. We're going to start, our panel is building bridges, crafting a plan for San Francisco. And we're very honored to have with us Sayles Owen, who is the new director of the Division of Community Partnerships for the California Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation. This department never existed until 2 years ago. And it's absolutely key if we're going to be able to have the state partner with the locals and get to know what we're doing. We can get to know what the state's doing and start building some programs. So Del was appointed by Governor Schwarzenegger in July of 2005. Prior to this position, she worked with the California drug and alcohol programs and was key in implementing Prop 36. Which, as we all know, was in lieu of incarceration for drug offenders, it put them into drug treatment programs. And then prior to that, she worked for 24 years with the Department of Social Services for the state. So she has a wealth of experience and a wealth of knowledge, and we are thrilled to have you. Thank you, Del. Okay, so I have a couple of, sorry, I forgot I had the questions to ask you. Okay. How has the Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation prepared to shift its focus towards planning for reentry while people are incarcerated? And what rehabilitative programs are they going to be utilizing?
Well, thank you very much. Let me start by saying it's a real honor to be here today. I am so impressed by the spirit of cooperation, the folks that have come here from the community, as well as all of the government and political leaders that are at the table. I'm from Sacramento, and usually when you say you're from Sacramento and you're here to help, you get a giggle. But I'm very pleased to be in the position that I'm in Sacramento. This new division of community partnerships within the new Department of Corrections and Rehabilitation is a tremendous opportunity for me and for the department to do some things that we've not done before. We added the R rehabilitation to our name. In addition to doing that, we created a whole new structure in the department. Before, everything that had to do with program was basically under the purview of custody. And so the custody decisions that got made sometimes did not take into consideration the programming issues and concerns. With this reorganization, there was the creation of a separate chief deputy secretary over programs and one for institutions. And so they are equal sitting at the table in the decision-making process. I am fortunate enough to report to the Chief Deputy Secretary of Programs. And our commitment is to bringing into our institution programming to a level that it has never been before. We have put together a strategy or a set of strategies for recidivism reduction. We're very pleased that in this year's budget, we have $52.8 million dedicated to recidivism reduction strategies. And we've organized them in such a way that we recognize the continuum that occurs when people come into our system. And the first part of that continuum, which everyone has talked about here, is with the community at the time of sentencing. What are we doing, and should we be doing more at the Department of Corrections and in the community around building that reentry plan right from the beginning? And I'm going to talk a little bit more later about a pilot that we're doing around this upfront assessment and starting reentry there.